Last week, we took a look at the best mini-boss from every Mega Man game 1 through 11, and I wasn't going to do a video on the worst mini-boss until Slime Blossom told me to. So if you enjoyed this video, you only have Slime Blossom to thank. But anyway, let's get into the worst mini-boss from every Mega Man game 1 through 11. Mega Man 1, the first Mega Man game ever made, only has the Big Eyes as mini-bosses, which is a bit unfortunate, but we have a job to do. There's no time for complaining. Iceman's Big Eye is the best mini-boss from this game as we established in the last video, and Cutman's Big Eye was a pretty close second. Gutsman's Big Eye was also pretty close second because it's tied with Cutman, so obviously neither of those could be the worst. But the most medium, on the other hand, in Wily 1, there are actually several notorious Big Eyes that everyone hates. The first room of this stage has 4 or 5 of these guys lined up in a row, and it's a complete gamble whether or not you're able to get past them, unless you use the ice beam and freeze them midair or try to juke them out or do something slow. But I'm a speedrunner, for goodness sakes. I hate pausing the game and switching weapons. This is why most people would probably say that all of these Big Eyes are the worst mini-boss, but I'm not most people. I'm addicted to gambling, meaning I like all of these guys just for the thrill of gambling they bring to the table. There's a lot of gambling you can do in Mega Man, but this is probably the purest form of it in the classic series, so I gotta appreciate these guys for that. Meaning the worst mini-boss from this game is Electman's Big Eye, but we knew that, right? I mean, this guy sucks. Who likes this guy? The only pleasure this guy has ever caused is when I get to laugh at him jumping off the stage to his bitter demise. Other than that, though, there's nothing good about Electman's Big Eye. So Electman's Big Eye, you were the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 1. Mega Man 2, the second Mega Man game ever made, doesn't have very many mini-bosses to go over, and if you're asking the Mega Man Wiki, it actually has none, but I don't agree with the Mega Man Wiki. In fact, I'll go as far as to say the Mega Man Wiki is wrong. This ugly fish from Bubble Man stage certainly feels like a mini-boss to me. I'm sorry for calling you ugly, Mr. Fish. I like you a lot, it's just that facial expression you're making is really weird. Though, now that I look at you, it's actually kinda cute. There are 2 of these guys in Bubble Man stage, but I like both of them just fine. In the last video, I also established that Sniper Joe riding those machines aren't mini-bosses, so we can't count those. I mean, there's way too many of them in the game for them to be mini-bosses, unlike the Big Eyes, meaning the worst mini-boss must be one of these blue dogs. Yeah, that's right, I'm calling them dogs this time. I read the comment section, but you're probably thinking, hey, you said the blue dog was the best mini-boss for Mega Man 2, how could it be the worst? Well, I actually said the first blue dog was the best mini-boss for Mega Man because of how cool it looks, and now that I understand the lore behind it thanks to this commenter, I appreciate it even more. But 3 of them in a row? That's just ridiculous, so I'm saying the third fire-spitting blue dog is the worst mini-boss from this game. 1 was enough, and 2 was quite honestly pushing it, but 3? Man, you must really have a bone to pick with me, third blue fire dog, because you were the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 2. Mega Man Mega Man 3 has some of the best mini-bosses in the entire series, so choosing the worst is going to be like choosing the least best, which is what worst means. In the last video, we also established that I'm not counting any of the Proto Man encounters because he feels like more than a mini-boss. I'm not sure if you guys agree, but if I was Mega Man's literal brother and he called me a mini-boss, I might get my britches in a bunch. We know the worst mini-boss can't be the giant flying Mets though, because first of all, I love Mets, and this guy is giant and flying, which is a plus. But also, he's teased in Needleman stage, which is just a cool little Easter egg to have in the game. We also know it can't be Garfield, because he almost won the best mini-boss from the game, but more importantly, he's Garfield. I mean, who doesn't love that lazy orange cat? I hate Mondays too, my friend. We should get rid of that day of the week. But hang on, this just leaves the giant snake from Snake Man stage, and there's no way in H I'm calling that guy the worst mini-boss. This is one of the most iconic mini-bosses in the entire series. I love the design of this guy, he fits the stage well, and you can even glitch past him if you're a pro gamer like all of my subscribers. But luckily I don't have to call this guy the worst because there's a mini-boss I forgot about, the Penguin mini-boss. Now, to be honest, I don't dislike this guy one bit. In fact, I actually like this mini-boss, and I like penguins. But compared to Garfield, the giant flying Met, and the giant green snake, this guy's dropping his candle, if you know what I mean. So I hate to say it, Mr. Penguin, but you are the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 3. Mega Man 4 has 4 mini-bosses for us to go over. Isn't that funny? Do you think the devs intended that? Moby Dick the Whale obviously is not the worst because he was already declared the best due to being a fun boss and a fun reference to that one book. I haven't read that book because, well, I don't know how to read, but I'm sure it's good. Escargot is quite an annoying mini-boss to face, especially when you're dealing with that disgusting sewer water pushing you into a bottomless pit, which will kill you if you weren't aware. But this guy is from Kirby right back at you, and I like that show, so I can't call him the worst. Plus, he's looking pretty handsome in this game, I'm not gonna lie. The giant hippo is a mini-boss. I could see someone making an argument for the worst just because he's in a stage that already has a mini-boss and he fits in much less than that other mini-boss, but I like hippos. I also like how this specific hippo is just sitting on his little podium all cozy like. I bet if Mega Man wasn't here, he'd just be chilling like a villain because, well, he is one. He also shoots literal missiles, which is cool and kinda makes me wonder if he was supposed to be in Dive Man stage or something, but who knows. Either way, I can't call this guy the worst, meaning the real worst is Whopper from Ringman stage. First of all, this guy has absolutely zero resemblance to the Whopper from Burger King, which is just ridiculous. I mean, why not name this guy Ring Guy. Look, I didn't say I was good at coming up with names, but Whopper just makes no sense. Plus, this guy is pretty annoying to face. I know you can have a pretty easy time with Pharaoh Shot or whatever, but even still, he gets on my nerves way more than the other mini-bosses. I do like his design, and I want no beef with this dude despite his name being Whopper, but I've gotta say, you're the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 4. Mega Man 5 only officially has one mini-boss according to the Mega Man wiki, but we've been over this credential battle before and I don't want to get into the bureaucracy of it all. The only official mini-boss is of course Mr. Octopus, and this mini-boss is just great. There's a reason it won the best mini-boss from Mega Man 5 award in the last Mega Man video. This guy could even compete with some of Mega Man 3's mini-bosses, but as for the other two mini-bosses in this game, well, they're both worse than each other. First of all, we have this ugly lanky machine walking thing, and I just don't like it. It does too much damage, takes too many hits, and he has a small hitbox. I feel like I should just be able to trip this guy by sticking my foot out and win the battle or go all Luke Skywalker, but instead I have to aim for that tiny hitbox inside of his eyeball, which isn't fun. But even worse than this guy is the big pink football player dude. I mean, this guy is just annoying. He takes more shots than a college kid at a bar and chases you down more than any other enemy I've ever seen in Mega Man. Thank goodness he doesn't have projectiles, or at least that's what I would say if he didn't constantly use his own body as a projectile towards Mega Man every chance he got. He doesn't even stay in the air long enough for you to slide past him most of the time, so he's really just a pain in the patella. Frick you, pink football player. You were the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 5. Mega Man 6 only has good mini-bosses, and it also only has 3 mini-bosses, which is half of 6. Isn't that funny? Do you think the developers intended that? The problem is, 2 of these mini-bosses are obviously better than the latter, but the worst mini-boss is still good. Now, obviously, the samurai riding the frog is the best mini-boss, and I really shouldn't have to explain why. I mean, it's a samurai riding a giant frog. Yes, I like Naruto, but that doesn't make me biased. Another great mini-boss from this game is the Met Gumball Machine. This thing will dispense as many Mets as you want it to as long as you don't destroy it. If you do destroy it, however, the infinite Mets inside will die along with it in a tragic manner, which honestly deserves its own video covering. Obviously, this mini-boss can't be the worst though. I mean, it's the best Met from Mega Man 6. Remember that video? That was about a year ago that it was uploaded now, but I guess it's time for a Best Sniper Joe from every Mega Man game video now, huh guys? Is that what you guys really want? Or maybe a video on the most medium Mets from anyway. The worst mini-boss from this game by process of elimination is unfortunately the Gorilla mini-boss. I say unfortunately because I actually do like this mini-boss a good bit, way more than the stupid Tank Wily boss, but don't even get me started on that thing. The only problem here is that the competition is just too strong. He stands no chance against a samurai riding a giant frog or a Met Gumball Machine, so I'm sorry my buddy, but you're the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 6. With the NES games taken care of, we of course now have to go on to the rest of the Mega Man franchise and take care of its mini bosses. Hey, what are you laughing at? That wasn't a joke. Mega Man 7, the first game on the Super Nintendo, has 7 mini-bosses for us to go over. Do you think the developers intended that? Obviously, I don't count Proto Man since he's more than a mini-boss, which is why there are 7 for us to cover. First of all, the Polar Bears may not be the most popular mini-boss in the world, but I love these guys and gave them the award for the best mini-boss from Mega Man 7. Was that an egregious thing to do? Maybe, but do I regret it? Of course not. The intro stage boss with the rolling tray is also a pretty great boss. I love how as you damage it, you can see the metal break down more and more, plus it's just a fun fight, so there's no way this guy is the worst. The Halloween pumpkin boss is literally in season right now, so I think I'd get assassinated if I called that thing the worst boss at this time of year, but also I don't think that it's the worst anyway. It has a really fun fight and a cool design, and it leads to a secret passage depending on how you kill it, so this boss is awesome. Honestly, if I wasn't so biased for my polar bears, this guy could have won the best mini boss from Mega Man 7 award, but what's done has been done. This crab boss from Burst Man stage reminds me of Bubble Crab just because it's a crab with a bunch of bubbles, but that's about all he has going for him. This isn't a bad boss or anything though, he's just medium, so my subscribers at least know the fate for this boss in the future. There's a literal dinosaur as a mini boss in Slash Man stage, which is pretty cool, but he's a little bit too easy to take down for being a dinosaur. Like, I wish he chased you for longer in the stage or had more health or something, because fighting against a life-size dinosaur, well, a decently sized dinosaur, is just a pretty cool thing to happen in the middle of a Mega Man level. But he's clearly not the worst, meaning the worst mini-boss has to be one of the truck bosses from Turbo Man stage. And I'll go ahead and tell you, it's not Truck Joe. I like Sniper Joes, and seeing one riding a truck makes me happy. Is this the best mini-boss ever? Obviously not. He's probably not even the best Sniper Joe from this game, but I guess we'll see in a future video. But I still like this guy, and he's not going to be the worst mini-boss. That honor would have to go to the CC truck. I mean, you guys probably saw this coming. He's ugly, he's stupid, and he's ugly. And that's all I need to declare the CC truck as the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 7. Mega Man 8 has a cast of mini-bosses that I mostly don't like, and I referred to as literal garbage in the last video before calling the only mini-boss that is literal garbage the best, so that should give you an idea of how Mega Man 8's cast of mini-bosses look. Like I said, this garbage eyeball is actually a fun fight, and I like his design. He's only garbage in the literal sense. Aquaman's fish boss thing is also pretty cool. I don't think I gave it enough credit in the last video, but I enjoy this fight a good bit, and the whole falling down a waterfall thing is pretty creative. But more importantly, it's fun, so it can't be the worst because I don't know about you guys, but I like having fun. The CC roll is a stupid mini-boss. This thing is more like an enemy, and it probably would be considered an enemy if it didn't have its own puppet show-like presentation whenever you fight it in Clown Man stage. Plus, I shouldn't have to say it, but this guy is also ugly, so he's not great. But I won't call him the worst. This game can do worse than that, believe me. This gear boss from Sword Man stage might not be the best example, but it's also not the worst mini-boss. I just don't like it. The worst mini-boss is of course the one from Tengu Man stage. Now I will say the design of this thing and the idea of it is pretty cool, I guess. You invade a giant flying bird ship, which in theory is cool, but the problem is it's an auto-scroller, and I hate those things. If you die at the last second, you basically have to start the entire stage over, and this is one of the worst stages in the game. But you should watch my video on the worst stage from every Mega Man game to know for sure. Bottom line, this guy sucks. I don't care how cool he could have potentially been, he's just not cool. So you are the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 8, you big green bird. Oh yeah, you already know what time it is. It's Rockman and Forte time, the best game ever made. First of all, the CC roll is disqualified from this video for cheating. Not only is it from Mega Man 8, which knocks it down a few pegs, but it's also ugly and annoying, meaning it's too low-hanging fruit for this video, so I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. Take that, you stupid roll. The giant caterpillar thing is the best mini-boss from this game, and I like it a lot, so it can't be the worst. I also found out from my comment section that apparently it's a mother, so congratulations. The snowman mini-boss from Cold Man stage is too cool to be the worst, as I'm sure you all know, and if you didn't know, now you do. Some people hate Simon Says since it's kind of slow, but I like it because you can break out of his prison with Ice Wall. Also, some people hate whenever I take glitches into account in these videos because it's cheating, but no it's not. They're literally a part of the game, you goober. Anyway, the worst mini-boss from this game is obviously that thing from Dynamo Man stage. This thing just isn't a great mini-boss all around. I mean, mean, it wouldn't be the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 8, but since Rockman and Forte's mini-bosses are just that much better, it kinda has to be the worst. I mean, come on. Does anyone in the comment section disagree? Speak now or forever hold your threes. I mean, peace. Anyway, Dynamo Man's mini-boss thing, you are the worst mini-boss from Rockman and Forte. Mega Man 9 has 4 mini-bosses. Do you think the developers, and first of all, the Fire Dragon is not the worst. This guy is the best and I won't let anyone say otherwise. This flower mini-boss is far too pretty to be the worst. Sure, it might give you a little bit of trouble the first time you go against it, but that's just how Mega Man is. Get good. This boulder guy sure is hard-headed, but something about that angry look is charming. I don't know what it is, but I can't call him the worst. As for these elephants though, I also like them a good bit. I mean, they're blue and they're elephants. I like both of those features, but the last elephant to appear takes things too far with its obstacles. The first 2 blue elephants are fine, but that last one, unforgivable. You're the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 9. Mega Man 10 has 4 mini-bosses. I'm not gonna say it this time, don't worry. But I will say, I played this game on the Wii, and speaking of the Wii, did you guys notice that I've been doing Wii Wednesdays? Because, well, view-wise, it doesn't seem like it. So I'm gonna say it, if you don't watch Wii Wednesday, then you're a doofus. Wii Wednesdays are canon episodes of Tooterp, so you don't want to miss them. Anyway, enough about the Wii. Tri-Castle is the best mini-boss from this game, and I won't be entertaining any arguments. He can even compete with some of the castle bosses despite being a mini-boss. Well, okay, I guess he is a castle boss too, but he's a mini castle boss. The twin Firebirds are also way too cool to be the worst boss. I mean, look at them. They may not be as magnificent as the Fire Dragon from Mega Man 9, but they're still pretty great. This means it's between the Keeper and Octobulb, and I've gotta say, my bias for the Mega Man 10 demo is gonna come in hard during this decision. I played that demo over and over again until I could beat the whole thing without getting hit. The demo was only Strike Man stage, by the way, if you didn't know, but it was fun. I played it way too much. And these Keeper bosses were very hard at first, but as I memorized their pattern, they became more and more fun, and I enjoyed fighting them a lot more. They went from literally impossible in what was stopping me from beating the stage to too easy, and for that, I can't declare them as the worst. But Octobulb is cool. You know what? In honor of Garfield, I'm gonna call you the worst just for making me run on a treadmill. I'm sorry, Octobulb, but it had to be done. You're the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 10. Mega Man 11 has 8 mini-bosses for us to go over, one for each boss in the game. Do you think that the devs intended that? First of all, Pickle Man Digger cannot be the worst because he's already the best. This guy is just awesome and we all know it, plus I'm pretty sure he's the best Met from this game, but you should probably fact check me by watching my video on the best Met from every Mega Man game. The Balloon Frog from Bounce Man stage may not be the best, but he's far from the worst. Sure, he didn't make my video on the top 10 frogs in gaming, but there are a lot of frogs in gaming who didn't make that list, so that's nothing to be ashamed of. Sparky is significantly worse and is only saved by the fact that his babies look like Alfred Chicken, and I like Alfred Chicken. He's cool, but I don't like Sparky, which is evident by my video on the top 10 best chickens in gaming. The Thrill Twins are pretty cool, but their boss fight just left me wanting more, which is the exact opposite of what a boss called the Thrill Twins should be doing, but they still aren't the worst. The Totem Pole boss is pretty medium, but I don't want to spoil anything for a future video, so I'll just cut this part out of this video and say he's not the worst. And if I didn't cut this part out of the video, cover your ears a few seconds ago, please. The mini-boss in Fuse Man stage is one of the coolest looking mini-bosses ever, but he's just not all that fun to battle. Those cancel out though, making him not the worst. The Undead Woolly Mammoth in Tundra Man stage is also one of the coolest looking mini-bosses ever, but yet again, it isn't all that fun to fight. Except this guy is double cool, as in cold, so it's not the worst. The worst mini-boss from this game has got to go to the Acid Cleaner from Acid Man stage. All in all, this guy isn't awful, the fight isn't even that bad, and the design is bland at worst, but he just doesn't do a good job at keeping the acid at the right pH. I mean, this factory is a mess. There are tons of contaminants in pretty much every area where there's acid, and I can't even change rooms without seeing the acid change colors. So just for your negligence alone, you're the worst mini-boss from Mega Man 11. Those were the worst mini-bosses from every Mega Man game 1 through 11. As always, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a comment down below, because if you guys want to see it, I would love to give the mini-bosses of Mega Man the old Tooterp treatment by going over the easiest, the hardest, the most beautiful, the ugliest, and the most medium, if you guys want to see that. And if you guys don't want to see that, then also leave a comment down below telling me what you want to see. I always read all of my comments and I need to know!